In the heart of the dense, uncharted forest of Uldara, there was a village called Brightridge. The villagers lived quietly, tending the crops and avoiding the ominous woods that surrounded them. Stories of creatures lurking within the shadows were whispered at night, tales of the bold and the fearless, a legendary pair who had once ventured into the forest and never returned. For years, children of Brightridge were warned not to stray too far from home. But Alara and Kian, inseparable since childhood, were different. They grew up hearing the stories of the bold and the fearless and were captivated, not frightened. The legend told of two siblings who had entered the woods to seek out the ancient Tree of Origins, said to grant unimaginable wisdom and power. Alara was the thinker, sharp and cunning. Kian, on the other hand, was strong and brave, always eager to protect his sister. Together, they made the perfect team. As they grew older, the idea of discovering the Tree of Origins became more than a childhood dream, it became a mission. One crisp morning, just as the first signs of autumn painted the trees in shades of gold, Alara and Kian decided it was time. Armed with little more than the wits and a map they had pieced together from fragments of old stories, they stepped into the forest. The woods were dark and dense, with twisted roots that seemed to reach out to trip them. The air was thick with an eerie silence broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves. But the siblings pressed on, undeterred. As they ventured deeper, they encountered trials that tested the courage and the bond. A river of mist that whispered the deepest fears, a labyrinth of thorns that threatened to tear them apart, and finally, a towering cliff that seemed impossible to scale. But each time, Alara's clever mind found solutions, and Kian's strength carried them through. Finally, after days of treacherous travel, they reached a clearing bathed in silver moonlight. At its center stood the Tree of Origins, ancient and majestic, its branches stretching out like welcoming arms. The tree shimmered with a soft, ethereal glow, its leaves whispering secrets of the universe. But as they approached, they were met by a ghostly figure, the spirit of the bold and the fearless. The figure spoke in a voice that echoed through the clearing, telling them that true wisdom and power came not from the tree itself, but from the journey they had undertaken. The challenges they had faced together were the true reward, forging an unbreakable bond between them and awakening a strength they never knew they had. Alara and Kian looked at each other and smiled. They had found what they were searching for, not in the Tree of Origins, but in each other. They left the forest as legends in their own right, the new bold and the fearless, with a story to pass down to future generations. Brightridge would never forget the day two ordinary siblings became extraordinary, proving that sometimes the bravest adventures begin with the smallest of steps.